Welcome, everybody, to That's Good Stuff. It's our deep dive into pop culture's newest releases. This time, we are reviewing A Haunting in Venice. It's the third go around for Kenneth Branagh's Periot
Yes,
movies.
that's how you say it. Perot.
So his third chance to get this right. So let's talk about it. Let's get right into it. So Perot is retired, as he has been in, I think, all three of these movies. And he is hanging out in Italy with his bodyguard. And his bodyguard's there because he's got like a lot of fans and a lot of people that want him to solve cases. So the bodyguard says, "No, I will push you." And he does push them.
Pushes them. He clotheslines one of them.
So the bodyguard says, "Hey, there's someone who wants to talk to you, and it's an old friend of yours. Maybe you know her. It's Tina Fey from 30 Rock." No. She's actually an author. I forget what her name is. You guys remember her name?
The heck no.
Crap, I forgot it. And
Ariane Oliver.
Yeah, what was it?
Ariane? I don't know.
Yeah. Apple Lady.
So she's an author, and she's like, "Hey, I got a mystery that even you can't solve." And he's like, and she takes him. It's Halloween, and they're gonna go to this Halloween party for a bunch of orphans. For the orphans, it's for the orphans.
It's for the kids.
And I don't know why they have to go to this party before his little story thing, but okay. So they go to the party. We see this weird puppet show that they kind of explain the backstory to this house, which is owned by this opera singer, and she had a daughter. The daughter died. And they blame it on this curse of this house, the orphan's curse, they call it. And supposedly the orphans were locked in the basement. And so they kind of get their revenge on whoever lives in the house, and a bunch of, it's like specifically supposed to be towards nurses and doctors, because that's the ones that locked them up in there, I guess. But anyway, they meet a creepy kid. He's like, I can talk to the orphans. And after the party, they kind of get the kids to leave because it's adult time.
It's
okay. You need to like stop putting it things like this, because like only he can talk. Yeah, like he talks to all the orphans. It's adult time now.
What was this movie rated?
Yeah. So Michelle Yeoh shows up. She is a famous medium, and they're going to have a seance to talk to the woman's daughter who died.
She's a small at best, but it's fine. I'll leave now, Michael. It's okay.
It's a bad joke.
Okay, I'll leave.
So they go through this seance.
Sorry.
Everyone's freaking out. But Perot's like, "Hey, wait a minute. This is all fake." And he exposes the ceremony.
Kicks a man out of a chimney.
Yeah, that was cool. It's like, get out of here. He exposes that, so everyone just kind of like mingles a little bit. And then they hear a scream. Someone's dead, because it's Perot, and he's a magnet for murder. Murder only happens around him. Poor guy. So they run outside, and the medium has been impaled on a statue, and she's dead. So it's a mystery time. Perot's like, close up all the doors and windows. We are going to solve this thing. And it kind of goes into what you would expect from one of these movies. The twist this time is it's a horror movie. So Periot is dealing with the supernatural, maybe.
And a lot of jump scares.
And a lot of angles. There is a lot of weird
Many
angles in this.
Many angles.
So I came out of this movie
With a headache?
Yeah, kind of. I did not know how to feel about it. I think it's better than the second one. Definitely better than the second movie. I don't know if it's better than the first one. So I'm gonna ask you guys to help me collect my thoughts on this movie, as Michael yells at the Hound of the Baskervilles.
They barking.
So, Thomas, do you want to collect our thoughts and tell me what you thought about this movie? Because you just saw it, didn't you?
I just saw it. Okay, so the acting in this was pretty good. Wasn't horrible. Like nobody in this was bad. But not great. Like Branagh is great because it's Branagh, Yo was good, but she's only in it for like maybe 10 minutes at the most. Everybody else was just kind of there. Yeah.
Lots of people where you go, oh, I know that person. Where do I know that person from? But you don't. They're not
really
big enough
know.
stars.
Yeah.
You kind of have to go home and look them up.
The only person I really knew was the mother or whatever. She's in Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
She plays Mrs. Watson.
Mary Kelly, I think.
Yeah, she plays Mrs. Watson in the Sherlock Holmes.
Kelly Riley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
One of them, the young lady, she's like related to the other kid. They were helping Michelle Yeoh with her scam. Yeah. She kept bugging me. I was like, who is that? So it was someone from King of what's that other Taylor Sheridan show? The one about the jail. That's why I knew her, because
Mayor of Kingston.
Mayor Kingston, yeah. So I just watched that second season, so that's why I kind of recognized her.
Anyway, so I mean, everybody was just all right. It wasn't great. The score was actually pretty great. I did like the score a lot. I think it's that same woman who did Chernobyl and Joker. I think. I want because there's a lot of string instruments in this one. But the Dutch angles, man, that just it was too much. Like the first 10 minutes, I was already getting dizzy, and the rest of the movie didn't help when there was like hardly any lighting in some of these scenes, and it was just it kind of hurt my head.
Yeah, Chernobyl was in it.
Yeah,
or she did Chernobyl. She did that Tar movie. Mm-hmm. And she's going to do the new Joker movie.
Oh, well, the other Joker movie.
Yeah, the sequel to Joker.
But yeah, I just, it was just all right. Like I still haven't seen Death on the Nile, so I really can't compare like the other ones. So I'm comparing this to Murder on the Orient Express, which I thought was really, really good. This one's just kind of lukewarm at best. Oh, Michael's having connectivity issues.
My headset's just dying. That's all.
There you go. Tina Fey was really out of place in this.
Really?
Like, yeah, she had a lot of modern lines that just didn't really match up with mostly like Agatha Christie's writing. And so it kind of stuck out really hard for me. I mean, she was funny.
Yeah, she was like comic relief.
Yeah, but it was very, very like it stuck out very hard. And so I was like, okay. I don't know. Like this was just all right. I gave it 2.5 stars. I didn't think it was great. It wasn't horrible, but honestly, this felt like a TV movie, really. So I wasn't super impressed with it. But anyway, yeah, that's about really it for me. Who wants to go next?
Michael's turn.
You go.
I'm definitely higher on it than that. I do agree that it's not as good as the first one, because I think the first one's like almost an amazing, incredible movie. But definitely better than 2, because 2 was just forgettable and boring. This one's, it felt really short, which is weird. Like we got in and got out, and I was like, I feel like I just parked my truck. Why are we already leaving? But yeah, what Tom's talking about it being sure, both of you guys talking about it being shot weird. The Dutch angles were just absurd. Like every like give us they're going around. It felt so out of place because like they're going through these narrow staircase and everything, but it doesn't feel claustrophobic because we're zoomed out to here to see the whole thing. I'm like, wait to zoom out till you get out of the staircase. Like, give us that kind of claustrophobic, weird, like Venice building affected. I feel like it should have been more closed in. I feel like that would have aided to the horror and everything to give that to it.
Yeah.
And then
I asked Jonah when we went, I was like, is it going to be Dutch angles? It's like the first shot.
It's like all there was.
Yeah.
And then the editing, it was kind of seemed like an ode to like old styles, but the black and white, like when the girl died and how they showed it all the time and everything, and the kind of weird flashback scenes, I guess you should say. I think that they were a little too often and too oddly placed for me, but that's just a small nitpick. And then yeah, the lighting, which I didn't mind the lighting because I still could see, but it seemed very like they were trying to get as close to just natural lighting as possible. Everything was super freaking dark. You could barely see anything, but I mean, you could see a little bit of extra lighting they put in there, but it was like strangely unlit. We'll put it that way. But apart from that, I really enjoyed the movie. It was very predictable.
Yeah. This one more than the other one, I think they let the clues hang out there a little more than the other two.
Okay, what did you think about the resolution for this?
I mean, I kind of saw it coming. Do we want to get into spoilers? Spoiler time, people.
Spoiler time.
Okay. Especially for you, Johnny. Okay, for the spoiler, when it was revealed that the mother is the one that was killing everybody, I had 3 people, one in front, one on the side, one behind, go, I knew it.
Like everyone did, but
I was like, okay, apparently it wasn't that, hard to figure out.
Yeah, so the clue that really gets you is where she locks the guy in the room. And she's like,
yeah, that's the one that's so I was like, okay, why is she specifically saying, here, you take this key?
Yeah,
you're the only one with the key. So I didn't expect the doctor to actually kill himself, though. I thought she snuck in and killed him.
That was weird.
Not that really painful death.
And then Tina Fey, man, her character is like, maybe you should take the day off. Maybe we shouldn't investigate it. It's like, something's up with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
don't pursue this. Don't pursue this. Sit down.
The clue that I felt like just kind of set the whole movie on a line was the tea scene. Whenever she gives him tea, it's like, okay, well, it's either her giving him the tea or the honey that's in the tea that belongs to the mom. It's like those are your only really 2 things, because obviously he's hallucinating. It's the only time he ingests anything that could cause that. But
with the honey, that was like really out there because he's like, ooh, this is wild honey.
Yeah, it goes on to later. So very pointed and predictable, but I did like how they kind of like led toward Tina Fey and then bounced back to the mom. So that was kind of fun. But it was like Alex and I said after the movie, like very much like the second one, the reveal is very, very quick. Like there's no real, like there's a tiny build up to it. Like the first one is very dramatic. It takes forever for the reveal and the build up and everything. And it kind of just gives you that like relief weight, whatever. But this is just very much like, hey, yada, yada, yada. And it was you. And you're like, oh, but yeah. But I actually did like Tina Fey's character quite a bit, which I'm strangely never like, I don't dislike Tina Fey, but she's always just kind of just, there's Tina Fey. But I liked what she did there. I liked her screams were surprisingly good. But yeah, I'm trying to think of the other characters. I liked his bodyguard that was actually working with Tina Fey. He was just dope looking and cool as is. But I don't know. I know I recognize him from somewhere.
Something that bugged me about Tina Fey's like dialogue, whatever, is like, Americans brought bad chocolate and loud music, but you know what we did bring?
Halloween. I was like, where?
I was like, Halloween.
I know what
I wanted to go like, we brought freedom. You idiot.
It's just like, is Halloween that important? No.
It's like it's 1947. It's like, come on, like, yeah.
Mussolini's hanging because of
exactly. I was just like, the black hats are no longer in power because of the United States. Ooh.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting line. But yeah, I think it only worked as well as it did because it was as short as it was. I felt like if they had gone any longer or tried to mess with anything else, they definitely kept the pace going. So I was interested the whole time.
I was appreciative of the runtime. Yeah. If this was any more than like what it was, I'm like, okay, this is too much.
Yeah,
too much.
So I think it was definitely a very fun movie. I like the environment, the scenery, and everything was super cool to look at in the architecture and everything. And yes, characters. No one really stood out. The kid was really weird, like Joseph said. The kid
tiny,
creepy
tiny,
kid.
tiny Adolf Hitler. Yeah,
the adult in a child's body.
Yeah.
I did like how he was the one blackmailing though. That was
That was.
I was
I
waiting.
didn't
I was like,
expect that.
I was like, they never confirmed who was blackmailing because I don't feel like it would be that guy that was that. But then they went
the
to
doctor. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was.
And so then he was like, no, the kid was doing it. I was like, oh, huh.
The doctor seemed like to get the worst of it all.
That dude was he was gone. Like he needed a sedative or something, man. It's just causing problems. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. But yeah, nothing to freak
The
out
Italian
about.
guy, the only place I know him is from the John Wick series. He was in 2 and 3.
Maybe
the kid was actually in Dungeons and Dragons. He's a young boy in the stand, so not much of a part.
That one.
Yeah. And then he's in Belfast, which pretty good movie. Interesting movie. Okay, for this one though, going back to this one, so I was real surprised that this one even that Branagh actually got a third movie made. I remember when the trailer came out, I was like, I didn't even know they were making a third one. Just because that second one seemed very expensive and it didn't do very well. So you could kind of tell they kind of made it a smaller film, less stars, and it's just like kind of a closed room mystery. And I do like the premise of the movie. I like how I always like Houdini, and I like how he always kind of exposed mediums. And I wish they kind of would make a movie about that. But so the way Perot's doing it is like that's like right up my alley. And then I like how he gets dosed and how there's all this weird stuff's happening, and they explain it by him getting drugged. But I think the camera angles were very weird. And it happens right away, so you can't really blame it on the drugging because you would think they would have saved it for that. That explains like the camera angles in this movie is because he's going nuts.
Yeah, but they're there at the very beginning too, which is just
yeah. It's weird. I guess that's because they are going for a horror theme, so I guess that's the way they're trying to convey it. Branagh's performance, I think, is good as always as Perot. I think he loves playing this character, and you can tell that he does. He gives a lot of heart to the character, and the way he's kind of going mad. I think it was fun to see Perot kind of like out of his element and thinking maybe he is going crazy, but and they play that well. I like the scene where he's in the bathroom. He's kind of like,
yeah, that was really good.
That was a good scene.
He's like, he left the tap on. He's like, we all saw him turn that tap off.
I do like when he exposes his like friends in their plot.
Yeah.
And he's like just jealous of me because I'm smart. But yeah, it's like Thomas said, it kind of feels like a TV movie, I guess, just with very expensive camera work.
Oh, what was that one line that Tina Fey had? It's like, oh, you did all this because a woman made you feel small. And I was like, what? I don't really think he did it for that. Mostly because I think he was lovesick.
Yeah, that was a weird line that stood out.
I remember who that was too. I was like, when did that happen? Yeah. That was another weird one.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but
I don't know. It was just so out of left field. I was like, what? That's an odd thing to say to him.
The doctors in these movies, you always got to watch them. There's always something going on with them.
Oh, I will say though, the puppet scene, the shadow puppet scene, that was kind of cool. I liked that.
Yeah.
What was it? The puppet master or whatever. I swear I recognize that dude's voice from somewhere. Like he sounds familiar. So I don't even know what to call him. Puppeteer.
I don't see him in the cast, so you'd have to look farther. Do you guys think there will be a fourth one? Because I think they do have ideas for more of them. Would you like to see more? And
I'm definitely open to it. I definitely like his. I just love movies like this, just little mystery movies, even
yeah,
if they're just like good or in my opinion, this one still fun to
because we'll
watch.
never get another Sherlock Holmes.
That was my first thought after this movie. I was like, where the heck is Sherlock Holmes 3? So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Give it to me.
Thomas, you're the reader of the group.
I have
are
not.
you it? Are
I
you
have
into
not-
mystery?
Yeah, I'm into mysteries. I have not read this one though. Like the last one, I think my last one I read was Murder on the Nile or Death on the Nile. Sorry.
I do kind of want to read the famous one that's like controversial when it came out because it has like this twist ending. It was kind of groundbreaking. I forget what it's called. It's like the Murder of Mr. something. But I was going to ask Thomas, since you said you like mystery books, do you have a fictional detective that you would like to be seen in the movies? Or even one we've already seen, but like a new take on it.
A really good one that I like a lot, and he just released a new novel based around her. Is her name's Holly? I forgot her last name. Holly Golightly or something like that. It's from Stephen King. It's the Mr. Mercedes one, and my favorite one though that he's done with her in it is called The Outsider. Which was also a mini series on HBO. It's really, really good. It's very messed up, but it's really good. It's just kind of a self-contained story that I don't want to give anything away. It's really good. But yeah, I would recommend like stuff with her. I haven't read the new one yet. I'm kind of hesitant because it seems COVID based, and I'm like, I don't want to read anything about COVID. I'm sorry. I don't like COVID stuff because it's too fresh. Like I don't like it when TV shows do it, like all those like Brooklyn Nine-Nine had the COVID stuff. I'm like, oh, God, guys, just I don't want to think about COVID. Stop, please. But The Outsider, I would really recommend on that one. That's a really good one. What about you, Joe?
Detective. I don't know. That's hard. I mean, we've seen so many Holmes. I do love Holmes. I would love one where he's like with Houdini and trying to solve Jack the Ripper. I think they have a book like that. So I guess that one. Yeah, I can't really think of a detective though that I like. But I would like to see a new detective, like different quirks and stuff like that. Shoot, there's like one on the tip of my brain, and I can't recall it, but maybe I'll think of it. But do you guys have any last thoughts on A Haunting in Venice?
Be careful of honey.
Be careful of honey.
Don't have a guard on the roof,
and maybe don't hang around him because someone's going to get murdered.
Don't live in buildings where a bunch of orphans died.
That's true.
It's another good one.
That's a big red flag.
Yeah, that's a big red flag. I did
Be careful. Go ahead.
I did like the line whenever he was talking about it. It was like every building around here is haunted because they're so old and everything. I was like, it adds a spooky air to it.
Be careful of hose. The gardening hose.
One thing I didn't talk about, we could do real fast, is that the actual person, the mother character. What did you think about her performance? Was it over the top?
Nah, I feel like she's always pretty good.
She was all right. She wasn't terrible.
Like flailing her arms or anything, so I was okay with it.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody in this movie was just kind of like underwhelming. Like nothing stood out really, and so. Like I said, like Kenneth Branagh is always great because he's that good of an actor, but everybody else is just like. I
just also feel like the characters were super weird. Like they never really got into. I mean, you can kind of draw from the assistance of the Michelle character and how the girl was like trying to be tough, but then she hugs her in the end because they're taking her to to Missouri of all places.
Yeah, I want to go to St. Louis.
And then her brother was like, I don't know, just none of them really had any fleshed out character in the slides or interest in their characters, all just kind of like people that were there instead of like, you know, he's the doctor. I mean, there was a doctor, but like, you don't have like the Murder in the Orient Express has all the specific characters, and each of them are all like, you know, freaking.
Well, each one has a very distinct personality, and they're all very memorable. None of these were very memorable.
They're just kind of there. Very true. Or they weren't even focused on really. Yeah.
There was another thing. You know how Perot paused for an apple at the one part?
He's terrible at that.
Yeah. I didn't realize that someone like cut his back.
Yeah.
Until the end. It's like they didn't point that out.
No, it just seems like they like.
There's also a bit too pointed of a scene just to have them think it was her. Like it just seemed very forced for her to put her costume on him to make it seem like they were trying to kill her, and that's how they like deduced that. It was a little forced, in my opinion, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to do it for this episode of That's Good Stuff. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.